Hey guys, there's Tracy. I see Pam's.
Oh, I can't. There he is.
Yeah, I see Pam's bottle of wine. She's got bottles of wine in there. How are you ladies doing?
Okay, how are you?
Good. There's Kathy. You can hear me okay? I'm just letting people in right now. So got Kathy, we have Kathy, Pam, and Tracy. There's Pam. I saw your wine stash up there.
Whoops.
Don't worry, I have it too. I just don't have it behind me. It's over there. That's all good. We need to have a little bit of that too.
Oh yeah.
Yep, for sure. When we are going to be talking about plateauing and why the scale isn't budging and what's happening, all that good stuff. So I'm just going to wait a little bit here. And I had a different topic set for tonight, but I heard from a couple people that they were upset because they didn't lose any weight. They lost some inches, but the scale didn't move. So I'm going to talk about why that happens, because it's normal. I just let Jody in here. Perfect. There she is. Awesome. So this is a really good topic to talk about today, and it's one that can be frustrating, but if everybody knows that it's a normal thing that happens to everyone, we can work through it. So we are going to talk about the reasons why we don't maybe move the needle in a week or sometimes 2 weeks, and what we can do about it to make it move in the direction that we want it to go. So we're just gonna wait. I think I'll probably wait a little bit yet. Not too much longer though. I want to respect your time and things like that. So cool. Yeah. Everybody have a good weekend.
Yes.
Good.
Ride my bike.
Yeah, we did that too. We did a bike ride. I don't even know how many miles to and from a coffee shop yesterday morning. It was so humid out. Oh,
Yeah.
we did it. It's really, oh, it's really humid here in Wisconsin.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Oh, there's someone coming in. This is Patricia. There, she's coming in. Then I think we'll get started. Now, I see that she's trying to connect, so she'll get in here. So what do we do when the weight won't budge?
Ugh.
What do you guys do?
Fry.
What else?
I usually exercise more. I walk more.
Okay.
Drink more water.
Right.
Screw it. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
Yep.
Consistency.
One foot in front of the other.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Does anybody, has anybody like just said, screw it, not going to do this anymore?
Nope.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Sure, I've done that.
I
But
have to.
not since I started with you.
Oh, good. I like to hear that. You know, that's normal to feel that way. You know, because sometimes those plateaus last longer than we really want them to. And so I'm gonna start getting into the reasons why, and we're gonna have some discussion as to a little bit about why and why it might be happening to you, but also what can we do to get out of that, that kind of stalling, if you will. So honestly, this happens to everybody. It happens to endurance athletes, professional athletes, to runners, to power lifters, to weightlifters, to men, to women, all of that. And, you know, it's frustrating because you're working so hard to get to that weight loss goal or putting muscle on goal, whatever that goal might be. And then that darn scale does not want to move. You'll step on it one day and then you're like, okay. And then you get on the next day and it's the same thing, or maybe it went up a little bit, and it's frustrating. And it's a normal occurrence. I want you all to know that it happens. And the reason why it happens is because your body's adjusting to the different things that you're doing to it. Changes, different foods, different exercises. Maybe you're getting out of bed a little bit earlier or later, or you're not sleeping very well. All that stuff kind of has an effect on that. And a lot of times that roadblock or that plateau happens right after you initially lose 5 pounds, 6 pounds. Then you're like this on this roll, right? You're like, woo, and then you kind of stall out. And it's discouraging because you're working hard and you want to see those fruits of your labor. And sometimes what makes it worse then is it lasts longer than, sometimes it lasts longer than a week. But eventually, if you keep, like Pam said, putting one foot in front of the other, like Kathy said, just keep doing what you're doing, it does stop. Like you'll start to progress a little bit. So but that doesn't mean that you don't ask yourself the question, like, am I doing something wrong? What's happening? I must be doing something wrong. I'm not eating enough. I'm eating too much. I'm not working out enough. I must have to walk. It's all this stuff. And before long, you're driving yourself crazy and you get anxious. And then sometimes, like Pat says, you just like say, screw it. I'm not going to do this anymore.
Well, we called you.
What's that?
That's why we called you.
That's right.
Because we stalled. We're all stalled.
Yes. And you know what? And when your weight drops, your body composition changes. And so do all your nutritional needs and things like that. So here are some reasons why you hit those plateaus. So as your weight goes down, you do lose fat, but there is a little bit of muscle that you will lose because you're doing something new.
Right.
So there are some studies out there that sometimes up to 25% of that body tissue that's lost comes from your muscle, because you're starting to like learn to eat different, build up that protein and all of that. So since muscle is really critical, to keep that metabolism moving, and if that's not happening, then your metabolic rate will go down a little bit, and it could hinder that weight loss. Does that make sense? Because I'm always talking to you guys about eating enough protein, all of, doing your strength training, all of that. And so strength training does preserve that muscle. So it's that fine line of losing body fat and tissue and keeping and building that lean muscle on a continuous basis. And so we want to just keep your metabolism humming all the time. Now that means sometimes we just have to pivot a little bit. We may need to add calories, we may need to decrease calories, we may need to increase your protein. Everybody's a little bit different. Each one of you will respond differently to what we're doing. And so we have to figure out what that path is for you guys individually. Does that make sense? Yep. So one size does not fit all. So you can go and get, look up meal plan on Google, and it's like, okay, well, I'll follow this. Well, it's just for one person. It's not taking into consideration your lifestyle, your age, what you're currently doing, what you're not doing. Are you just doing cardio, all that kind of stuff. So another reason why your weight can hit a plateau is you may need fewer calories. You may need more calories, like we just talked about. You may need to increase your physical activity. And sometimes you need to maybe decrease a little bit of your physical activity and rest a little bit in there. So again, that's just changing and pivoting in your journey. But those are the reasons that stuff happens. You also, a lot of times people will think, and this isn't any of you, but a reason why some women plateau is they're just looking at one thing. They're just looking at nutrition and they're not exercising. And so what's going to happen there is you're not going to boost that metabolism. So you're going to stall out. You might have an initial weight loss because you're moving your foods around a little bit. Other things that can affect and influence your weight loss are things like your thyroid, adrenal gland. If you've been on diet after diet after diet, or you've been on these low calorie diets, you can really screw up your adrenal glands, and we have to really look at what your hormone levels are looking at too. Sometimes medications for anxiety and depression can cause a little bit of some weight gain, some what do I want to say? I don't want to say inflammation, but more bloating. It's hanging on, it's retaining some water. When you quit smoking, sometimes because you're so used to having something here and something in your mouth, you tend to eat more, right, Jody? Yeah. I mean, I remember my parents decided to quit smoking. I remember I was 13 years old, and that's the only time I really got slapped in the face, I guess you could say. My mom was upset because she quit smoking with my dad, and I was 13, and she and my dad were super crabby, especially my mom. And I told her to go have a cigarette because she was so crabby. Yeah. I never ever did that again. But that was hard for them, because then they wanted to eat. They were eating more. And so they were stressed because they were gaining weight. They were stressed because they were going through this nicotine withdrawal. And it's, and so those types of things will happen too. How about menopause? Right? That's what we're facing. And that's why that we need to pivot and make those different changes in ourselves, because menopause doesn't make you gain weight. It doesn't, just because you hit menopause, you're not going to be putting 20 pounds on overnight. Our bodies change. We generally slow down a little bit as we get older. We're maybe not playing our softball or basketball or being as active as we once were. That changes. Sometimes we are retiring from our jobs. And so we're a little bit more, I don't want to say maybe a little bit more sedentary, but not as active. And then of course your hormone levels too do have an effect. And so those are all those things that can influence what that scale is going to do. Other reasons are if you're not documenting what you're eating, if you're not putting that in MyFitnessPal, if you're not logging it, you think you know the portions. Mm-hmm. Oh, that looks like 4 ounces. That looks like a tablespoon. Well, it's not. So my tablespoon of peanut butter is a lot bigger than the tablespoon that you measure with, right? And so you always should measure. Do we like to measure everything? No, it can be painful. Once you're in that process and those foods are there for you and you can make meals out of in MyFitnessPal, it does become easier. But there will always be times where you think you can, like if you're on vacation, it can be difficult to track, and you think that you're going to stay within those boundaries, but really you can't. Like it's just almost impossible. You can take a little portable scale with you and measure stuff out. That's always a little awkward when you're at the dinner table with people, but that gets to be a little, but people do it. So that's a big thing. And you might be picking out higher calorie foods than you normally would do if you're at home. So that happens as well when you kind of, let's say you just lost 10 pounds, you sort of like let your guard down sometimes. And then you're like, oh, I got this. I know what I'm doing. And you stop logging it or measuring it. And then you're like, oh shit, and that can happen too. So those are some other reasons. So a lot of the stuff that happens is just natural. But the biggest thing I think I find with women who are starting is just your body's adjusting to all this different things. Activity level, you're trying to figure out when you're going to do your workouts in amongst your work schedule, being consistent, eating the right foods, documenting it, measuring it, all of that. And so it just takes a little bit, because some of you are only in this about 3 weeks now. Some of you have been with me for longer, and you can attest to the plateaus and the different things we've had to do to make your journey, keep going forward and progressing. So, and I think a lot of times we don't really realize that 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. That's a lot, right? And so it does, you have to be moving, you have to have activity, and you really need to watch what you're eating. And I'm not saying, you guys all know, I think 80-20, 80% of the time you're on track, you're doing what you need. That 20% planning ahead and having that birthday cake or a glass of wine or whatever it is that you want to indulge on, plan it ahead. Like you're going to have pizza on Friday night with some friends or your family. Just plan ahead for it. You know, just put it in MyFitnessPal the best you can with that stuff. So we just have to realize too, it's not weight loss, it's fat loss, which leads to that scale going down where we want it to go. And anyway, I think we don't realize that 1 pound of fat, and that 1 pound of fat takes up a lot of space compared to muscle. So that's what you're losing. You're losing the fat, which is the space, and you're putting on the lean muscle, which takes up less space than fat. So I don't know if you guys have seen, I don't have it here, I have it at the gym, but 5 pounds of fat is like this big, right?
Huge.
It's huge. So, and then when you look at a pound of muscle, it's like this.
Yeah.
And so if you take 5 pounds and so you're losing inches, you're getting rid of that fat. So does that all make sense? Kind of why this is all happening?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we do to get back on track? You guys know the secret. You know what the secret is? It's just persistence. Keep doing it. This is your lifestyle. This is it. This is where you're going to get results. And that's how it's going to stay. Like this is this is what you're going to do, because you want to be feeling good and energetic, all of that kind of stuff. You want to be, this is your next chapter. So exercise, of course, builds muscle, revs up your metabolism. You all know that. That honestly is the single most important thing you can do to lose more weight. Look for ways to increase your activity. So let's say you're working out 3 times a week. Let's increase it to 4, or sometimes it's 5, but it doesn't have to always be strength training. 3, no. A minimum of 3 times strength training. 4 to 5 is good. And then doing some things that you enjoy. Patricia likes to swim. Tracy, you swim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't.
Pilates.
Patricia does Pilates. I mean, there's so many things that you can do to stay active. Walk fast.
Walk with
yeah, all that kind of stuff. And that's why the steps for habits. You know, the goal eventually for everybody is 10,000 steps a day. And you know what? You may not meet that every day, but if you can do that 6 days, 5-6 days.
At by noon.
Great. Yeah. So that's super important. You know, find some things that you like. Increase your exercise frequency or intensity. So we talked about frequency, but intensity, maybe, go a little heavier next time. Maybe you need to get some heavier dumbbells or a kettlebell or something like that. So intensity is really important. Not so intense that you're so exhausted that you're not sleeping at night either. So that's why we have a lot of discussions. So we can make that, make sure that we have the right fit. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of, trying different things, because you guys all know muscle tissue is more metabolically active than fat, and you burn more calories. So the more strength training you do, the more fat you'll burn.
Yes.
Okay. Because you're using up more calories. The more larger muscles you use, the more calories. So when you're doing your legs and when you're doing your back exercises, you're going to be using a lot more calories, a lot more energy, more blood flow, all of that. You're going to maybe even feel hungrier on those days too. Always make sure you're checking your portion sizes, measure your food. Many people routinely underestimate. So you've got to measure your food. You want to cook your food before you measure it. Now, I do, especially your meats, you want to cook before you measure it. Now, there is a theory that you can measure like your grains before you cook it, but then you have to be really careful. It's just a little bit more complicated. I just cook everything and measure it and just be consistent with it. Tracking your food in MyFitnessPal, the Fitbit app. You guys are all connected to Trainer Eyes, so those are the two that work with that. Even if you're journaling, but make sure that you're documenting what you're eating, and any liquids that have calories. So protein shakes, alcohol, juice, that kind of thing.
I haven't had any alcohol since I started.
Yeah, you're doing great. I don't, Tracy hasn't
missing
either.
my wine.
I know.
And as soon as my friends come back, I'm sure I'll have some.
Yeah, tell them to stay away longer.
No, I don't think one glass is going to
Nope,
hurt.
It's
I'm
not.
I'm not ever going to go down that road.
Right.
again.
Right. And you know what? When you deprive yourself of that,
Yeah,
that's when
no.
all hell will break loose. Right.
Exactly.
So that's why it doesn't mean that you can't do it. I have a friend who's now not had any alcohol for a year, and I think that's amazing. Like good for her.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But for me, I enjoy the flavor and the taste. I don't do it to get annihilated. I like that flavor with meal. And so if I prepare
Right.
it ahead of time, it's good. Right. So,
When you said that about putting things in my Fitness Pal in advance,
Mhm.
I've done that a few times since we started
right.
to see where I was at, because I was getting caught in the night, not having enough of what you said I needed.
Right.
And that's a great idea when you're going to go out somewhere. I used to write it down because you hold to what you write.
Yep.
If you say I'm having one glass of wine, then you got to record one, you got to check it off. So
yep. I've taken a picture of myself. I'll have my scale. I'll put my wine glass on there, zero it out, pour my wine. I only do 125 grams, or sometimes 150 grams. And I know that that's 183 calories. That's just subtracted. And then I feel guilt-free when I just have that. And my weight doesn't go up with one glass of wine.
No.
Yeah. So no, it's perfectly fine to do that. Now, if you're doing that every day and you're having 2 or 3 glasses every day, that will stall your results. That's just,
oh no, that would be no.
Yeah. Back when maybe I was 25, but
that's when I didn't drink.
Oh no.
I only started that when I retired.
There's another. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. And again, like we said, keep tracking everything you eat. Here's one that you can think about too, is eat more fiber. So your soluble fiber. The soluble fiber will blend in with the water, and your water absorbs it in your gut, right? It reduces those blood sugar spikes, and it has a lot of health benefits. So the foods that you guys are eating, if you go back to the power foods list, but all of those are mainly soluble type fiber, your veggies, those kinds of things. The insoluble fibers, they don't blend with water. They do go through the digestive tract, but they're more, they move things through, but it's not going to have the blood sugar effect where it's going to stabilize. So increase your fiber. And so for women, about 25 grams of fiber a day is a good goal. So look, when you put your stuff in MyFitnessPal, it also calculates your fiber in there. If you've noticed, the sugar and all that, take a look at that.
Right.
So fiber will help move things through. Because I also talked to some of you too Heidi's trying to come in with the additional, some of you additional calories, additional protein, you kind of feel like you're kind of constipated.
Oh yeah.
So what I'd like to eat more veggies, the soluble type fiber. And the other thing is, I know you guys are all drinking a lot of water, but drink even more. It does work. Yeah. So does that make sense? You can also do probiotics and things like that. That's helpful as well. But I do take that. I take a greens with the probiotics in it, but I also drink about 1 gallon of water a day, sometimes more. And that really helps. Yes, I'm going to getting up and going to the bathroom, but it works. And I don't know if you guys all saw what I posted. Pam had asked about water, and I posted everything that I know about water, and it's so important. Water does, especially cold water, increases your calories, like your metabolism, by increasing the calories that are consumed when you drink water. Now, I don't like super cold water. I just drink cold tap water, and that works out really good. But that's a really good benefit too, is that water. So more soluble type fibers. The other thing to get away from, getting stalled on a plateau would be, don't skimp on your protein. Now, all of you have your protein goal. Some of you already have your macros, your carbohydrates and your fats. So protein boosts calorie burning by like 20 to 30%. So you want to eat your protein. So that's why I'm harping on you guys, because it's hard for women to understand why should I eat all that meat and protein? And that's the reason. And if you consume it throughout the day, it provides you opportunities then throughout the day to keep your metabolism going, and that keeps that blood sugar nice and even. So breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, sometimes a snack at night, a protein shake, depending on where you're at with your calories and protein.
Can you recommend a good protein? Because I use that Prolific, which was recommended to me. I find it's a little heavy.
Yeah. Do you know how many grams of protein is in that?
I think 22.
That's actually pretty good. So you want to go anywhere between 20 and 30 grams of protein per serving, because any more than that, your body can only digest so much protein at one time.
Yeah.
And if you find that's heavy, you could go and do a half a serving of that, but then you'd have it a little bit, maybe more often during the day.
No, I was just wondering if there was a more easier digestible protein powder that you used.
Yeah, so I use a couple different kinds right now. What I'll do is, when I download this video, I will post underneath, but I use a brand called Ascent, and I also use a brand called TrueLean. I'm getting away from TrueLean just because my gym supported TrueLean, which was a Fit Body boot camp, and I no longer am part of that franchise. So Ascent, it's ASCENT. But I'll put a link down there for you. I don't get any, if you purchase it, it's, but I'm going to be coming out with my own supplement line. And I know I've been saying this now for 2 months. We run into a few little snags with some of the suppliers that we want to use, but I'm excited. It's going to be awesome. So it'll be the gluten-free. I'll probably have a vegan, more of a plant-based, and then a regular, like a whey isolate protein. But in the meantime, I would recommend Ascent. It's very clean. It's less than 1 gram of sugar.
This is very clean. This Prolific isolate, but there was another kind that a trainer had recommended to me that was really good. I don't know. I wish I could remember what it was.
Yeah. If you do sometime, just shoot the name of it to me in a message. Yeah.
I'll have to look around.
Yeah. No worries.
What do you feel about collagen?
Collagen. I like it. I'm going to have collagen too in my supplement line. Now you can get a collagen protein.
Yes.
Like the one that I have, I think is 18 grams of protein. Yes. It's vanilla. So I mix it in with other, like a protein shake, just to have a little bit more protein.
I put it in my coffee.
Coffee is delicious.
Yeah, it's the Purely Inspired. It's 70 calories, real low carb, low fat, low sugar, but it has 18 grams of protein.
Yeah. And that's good too. So if you Patricia, if you'd even want to find something
I use a collagen peptide bovine.
Yep.
That has a ton of amino acids, and it has 18 grams of
perfect
collagen.
I think it's good because it's going to strengthen your bones along with the strength training that you're doing, the resistance training, and it really is good for your skin and your hair and all of that. Even
another way to get extra protein in there. At 6 o'clock, you don't have enough.
It is, and it's
water.
Yeah. So those are all really, really good things. So the protein is important. Another thing to get you off the plateau is, if you are drinking a lot of alcohol, to really slow, taper it back. Cause I'm sure you can tell if you drink too much, it does have an effect on your body, and it takes you another couple of days to get back going in the right direction. It's empty calories. It plays with your brain because it makes you want to eat. It makes you want to eat something.
Yeah.
It's usually not healthy stuff like pizza or chips or Doritos. Yeah. And then it's not a handful, it's half a bag, so
A lot of time.
and it also increases belly fat storage. So you guys, we want to get rid of that, so we don't want to add to it. So again, don't rely on the scale alone. I'm going to preach this because it's not about weight loss, it's about fat loss. So you're building muscle. That's what I want you to do. It's denser than fat. Fat takes up more space, so it's inches. It's what your pictures look like. It's how your clothes feel when you put them on. So if the scale isn't moving, it could be you're building muscle, you're losing fat, but you're maintaining a stable weight. So I could tell you my story, but it takes so long. But at the weight I am now, I started at, but my clothes size is probably about 3 or 4 different sizes down because just how my body composition is. And so that's the crazy thing about the human body, right? So.
Oh my God, I can't do that. That'll be like the fourth time I've had to go down and get a new wardrobe, and then I have to go buy more because I get fat again.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen this time.
Oh, well, that's what I said the other 4 times.
No, we're going to hold you to that now. This group knows who you are. So. So again, and the other thing I want you to, like you guys are doing, weigh yourself once a week. Doing it more often is counterproductive. It's just going to mess with your head. Don't do it.
Yeah, and I lost today. I was very happy.
Good for you. Other things you can drinking water, coffee, or tea can boost your metabolism. I'm not saying a whole pot of coffee every single day, but that caffeine is a stimulant. It's going to boost your metabolism, give you energy, right? That's why it's in pre-workout kind of stuff. And there's also and I cannot remember the name, but it's found in green tea. And that has been shown to produce more fat burning. So you hear all the really good stuff about green tea.
Right.
Herbal teas are really good for that as well. So that's some things that you can do is some caffeine, coffee, if you like that. Plain black coffee, not with all your creamers and your frappuccino and your whatever.
No.
I threw away another $5 coffee this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I talked myself into getting it that it's going to be okay. I don't do it that often. I take one drink and I'm like, it's not worth it. I throw it away. I don't even care about the $5.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Good. That's good for you. Yeah. Because, and I see these people with these frappuccinos or whatever they are with the whipped cream on top. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh, I don't gag. I go, oh, I wish.
yeah.
Come on.
Oh
now.
yeah. So
But
obviously,
I don't drink coffee or tea for over 5 years now.
Yeah, the tea. What I found is I like the herbal teas that don't have the caffeine because it has other, really good high quality ingredients like dandelion and jasmine and
But I bet you don't do sugar in them. See,
No.
that's where my problem was. I was using Splenda all the time.
Yeah, and if you wanted to use a little stevia, that's the artificial sweetener that I would recommend for that. And that's
Yeah.
How do you feel about monk sweetener?
What's that?
How do you feel about the monk fruit sweetener?
Yeah, that's a good one too. That's in a lot of supplements too, to give it a little bit of sweetness.
Yeah, because it's not over. Now that I don't eat sugar anymore
Right.
and have for years, even the monk fruit sweetener is kind of
Yeah.
a bit much for me. So
yeah. No, that's a good one too.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah, try that.
Maybe, because sometimes it makes me want more sugar, that stuff.
Yeah, that's true too. You just have in little spurts too.
I
Other
can't
things-
imagine what I'm going to be like after I have my first piece of cake or something. I'll probably want to attack everybody.
You'll be cleaning the house.
Oh my God. That could work.
It could. So managing your stress, getting plenty of sleep, right? So stress is never going to go away. So how do we manage it? A lot of times it's physical activity helps. Alcohol, yeah.
Wine.
Sorry, Pat.
Yeah. It can. Yep, it can.
Your family home.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Managing stress is not an easy thing, right? Physical activity for me is the best stress management, honestly. And getting plenty of sleep, because if you're not sleeping well, it's that whole, oh my goodness, cortisol. We need cortisol to live and survive. But when it's a raging cortisol, it really does not help our sleep, which means we're not recovering, we're not resting, our muscles are not growing at all. And with that chronic cortisol, it leads to overweight, it leads to having that belly, that pudgy little belly in the front we want to get rid of it, because it's really does wreak havoc on our hormone levels. And what it does is it makes us feel hungrier because we're not sleeping. And then we store more fat. So it's important to get that sleep. And I recommend 6+ hours. But more and more I read, and it's like 7 or more hours that we should be sleeping. And that means getting to bed on time. That's probably one of the things I struggle with most, is actually getting to bed on time so that I can get up. I struggle with, that's my whole big thing. Very transparent. Sleep is, I get sleep, but not enough. So.
Well, I thought I was getting a full 8 hours or more of sleep until I got a Fitbit. And I found out, no, I was not.
Right.
I still get decent sleep, but not what I thought.
Right. You know, and that's the whole thing. You know, we talk about measuring our food, but watching what our sleep and our steps, you always think you're doing more than what you really are until you're watching it. And so, that's so important. That's probably when I look at like what's important to reach our goals, sleep is number one, recovery. Then you're going down your nutrition, fitness, all of that kind of stuff. Sleep and rest is super, super important. Because if you're not sleeping, you're not going to be productive. You're eating to stay awake. It just leads to not such good things. So we work on sleep a lot. The other thing is, when you are successful, you have lost some weight, some inches, things, you're feeling good, need to celebrate that. I want to hear about that. I want you guys to post in the group, guess what? I lost this, I lost 2 inches, whatever it is. I got to wear, I put on my jeans I haven't worn, 2 years ago. I want to hear that. And I want the ladies, the group, to hear that too, because that's going to motivate not only you, because it happened to you and you're sharing, but everybody else too. So that's where you start to really feel good. Like, hey, if she can do it, I can do it. And how did she do it?
Are there anybody out there that are finding that they're having, friends and acquaintances all of a sudden reaching out to you and saying, what are you doing? They're interested in what you're doing to make this happen. I probably have 5 different people reach out and say, you look amazing. You have a better, and what are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing, but you really look like you're, lost weight, blah, 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 from my Pilates ladies.
Oh, good, Pat. That's great to hear.
And some young guy at the gym is always yakking at me.
Oh, there you go.
He said to me the other day, he goes, girl, I mean, like I'm a girl, I'm going to be 70. Girl, you are really working out. I said, yes, I am. And he said, I saw you doing those Arnolds and you were doing them right. I was like, okay.
That's right.
Your wife.
I mean, I bet you felt awesome, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for people to notice that is such people don't have to say that. And you know what? In this day and age, we don't hear positive stuff very often. So when we do, we just celebrate that, right? It's all this negative stuff, and we need to celebrate those accomplishments. It's so important. And so, yeah, I want you to share, buy yourself a new top or pair of pants or dress or whatever, and celebrate that. Because
how's about new underwear? That's what I'm ready for.
That's good. That's
I don't have to
good.
wear the king size ones anymore.
That's good to hear. Get rid of those granny panties, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the last thing is community support, right? That's going to help you. So this group, you have me, you can reach out to, you have the big Mind Body Beautiful group too. It's super important that you have that. It is because you, especially women, it's so good to be able to support each other, because women can tear each other down really bad. And I'm sure you guys have seen that. And we don't do that here. We're here to uplift each other and help motivate and encourage each other. And things will start moving again if you hit that plateau. It's the tweaking of the diet. It's the exercise routine. It's just little tweaks that we work on and little pivots that we have to do that will make all the changes happen. And another thing is, think about the commitment you made to yourself. Remember your why you're doing this, right? And that's important to remember. And call upon friends, because you've come really far and you don't want to give up. This is a change in your life. This is a new lifestyle for you, this next chapter. And just reward yourself and share your accomplishments, all of that. And that plateauing is normal. It will happen. And it happens, like I said, right after you've lost a bunch of inches. Sometimes you didn't move this week and you're like, oh my gosh, what happened? It's your body just like going, oh my gosh, what's going on? Do I need this? Do I need that? And then we just make a plan so that we progress forward. And so I hope this was helpful. Plateaus are normal. It happens. If you feel like you're in that, and I see that on my end, that's why we meet and talk about it, so that you don't feel stuck and all alone. And that's why this group exists too. So,
well, it's just a good thing I lost 2 pounds this week, or I would have been like screaming, because this is a huge diet change and exercise change for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's working. And like I said too, it's, and it may happen again. And then we just have to pivot.
Better not. The second week I was really pissed off.
I know you were. And we talked through it, and you're just going to keep moving forward. And that's why you have me. And that's why you have all these ladies. So you guys are doing great. Keep it up. Let me know if you need anything. This will be posted. It is actually recording, as I can see. So you'll be able to watch this, or you can tag other people in it as well. So have a great night. Everything good?
You too, Diana.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you on Wednesday if you're in Mind Body Beautiful. Otherwise, we'll see you next week, Monday. All right.
Okay,
bye. Have a good night.
Night.